Organizations do not naturally become more efficient over time. Without intense, deliberate human intervention, complex systems default to bloat. Technology and productivity do not automatically improve. They backslide the moment you stop forcing them forward. An extended period of calm inside a company is not a sign of stability. It is an early warning indicator of creeping entropy. Maintaining forward momentum requires a mindset that is essentially wired for war, treating complacency as an active threat to the mission. This chart compares raw material costs against the astronomical cost of a finished component. It's called the idiot index. A massive gap between material and finished product means systemic inefficiency. That space is filled by middlemen, poor design, and unquestioned requirements adding friction. Before you can cure organizational decay, you have to measure it. Calculating the idiot index isolates where friction lives, so you can start cutting it out. To aggressively crush the idiot index, Elon Musk does not rely on standard management theory. He uses a rigid, fiercely applied operational framework. He calls it the algorithm. It's a strict 5-step anti-entropy protocol designed for extreme process optimization. While it was forged on manufacturing floors, these 5 steps serve as a logical framework for any high-stakes environment where rules and processes have outpaced the mission. If you're attempting to execute a high-velocity mission, understanding and replicating this exact sequence is mandatory. Before the 5 steps can even begin, you have to tear down the physical architecture of the company. In a traditional corporate setup, design, engineering, and manufacturing sit in isolated silos. That separation guarantees dysfunction. Integration requires a specific mandate. All technical managers must spend at least 20% of their time engaged in actual hands-on execution. There is a physiological reason for this physical proximity. By placing the engineers directly on the assembly line, you ensure they instantly feel the operational pain caused by their own design flaws. In this environment, workplace camaraderie and comfort are actively discouraged. Collegial environments make it incredibly difficult for individuals to ruthlessly challenge each other's work. You cannot achieve rapid iteration unless the person designing the system and the person building the final product are structurally bound together. Step 1 of the algorithm is to question every requirement. You treat all internal rules as mere recommendations unless they are strictly dictated by the absolute laws of physics. This relies entirely on first principles thinking. You stop reasoning by analogy or looking at past precedent, and instead drill down to the basic physics of the problem in front of you. There is one critical governance rule here. A requirement must have a specific person's name attached to it. Attributing a requirement to a general department, like legal or safety, is an institutional failure. You cannot interrogate, debate, or push back against a department. Forcing individual human ownership onto every operational rule strips away decades of institutionalized assumptions immediately. Step 2, delete any part of the process you can. The best part is no part. If you aren't forced to add back 10% later, you aren't deleting aggressively enough. Step 3 is to simplify and organize the surviving components. Teams are instructed to use whatever resources are currently available right in front of them to execute this simplification. You actively resist imaginary delays or waiting for perfect conditions. This sequence is completely rigid. You must delete before you attempt to simplify anything. The most common engineering and management mistake is perfectly optimizing a process that should never have existed in the first place. Step 4 is to accelerate cycle time. You inject a maniacal sense of urgency into the newly simplified system. When pushing for extreme speed, things will break. Leaders must take full responsibility to maintain the culture of velocity. Step 5 is to automate. This must absolutely be the final step. Elon Musk learned this through a massively expensive failure during Tesla's early production hell. Over-automation nearly killed the company, serving as a strict warning against skipping steps. Premature automation fails because automating a flawed process simply generates errors at machine speed. Automation is merely a multiplier. Applying it to an unchecked, bloated system only multiplies institutional failure. The core logic of the algorithm can be exported from the factory floor to the management of any vast, complex institution. Take standard federal operations. If you map this first principles model onto the government, the concept of engineering requirements translates directly to bureaucratic regulations. In the intelligence community, critical operations frequently stall or die completely because of arcane directives written by bureaucrats who have never spent a day in the field. Applying the 20% hands-on rule to intelligence community operations managers would force them out from behind their desks and require them to navigate the actual physical operational environment. Treating government regulations with the exact same ruthless skepticism as aerospace engineering requirements is the only way to unblock those stalled operations. Maintaining this state of high-velocity output requires rejecting traditional corporate comfort entirely. You build greatness through the unrelenting, decades-long application of these core principles, constantly forcing the system to justify its own complexity. Without this relentless pressure, organizations default to the comfort of existing rules. High-velocity output only happens when a system is forced to defend its own complexity every single day.